You know, I really can't remember the last time I sat down in the recording chair, so you're gonna have to be a little patient with me if I ramble today. It's been a minute. That all being said, hi there. It should be obvious from looking at my YouTube account. I really like gacha games. I enjoy playing them a lot of the time, but I'd be lying if I said that they've been on a completely upward angle for a good minute now, at least a year. Feels like a majority of games that come out nowadays, with the exception of a couple, are just slop. Thrown down in the pig trough for the hogs to consume at their leisure. And that doesn't mean slop is bad. Trust me, I would know. I love slop. You gotta be able to roll around in the pig trough for a little bit in order to appreciate the real gems of games that come out sometimes, like, for example, some of my favorite games: Elden Ring, Baldur's Gate 3, Divinity Original Sin 2, Metaphor, Persona 3. Those are some fire games that I probably wouldn't have enjoyed anywhere near as much as I did if I didn't come right off the tracks of some actual slop. That being said, not all the time when gacha games come out are they slop. Sometimes they are. For example, WoWA on release, it was rough, and that's coming from somebody that's played it since release. It's a little better now. You know, okay, a lot better now. But back in the day, it was slop. But sometimes we get games that come out that are just good on release, but it's very rare in the gacha community. And they were actually the inspiration for today's video. But before we talk about that, this is an ad, but I'm not going to try and sell you on a product, so don't skip. As you can probably tell by my unfortunate dialect, I have been busy lately. I've been outside talking to folks, just doing different things, and it started to rub off on me. That being said, because I'm not at my computer chair wasting away anymore, I don't really have time to edit videos these days, and I don't really want to begin with. It's too much of a time-consuming, tedious process for me. So, if you know how to edit, and you'd like to be compensated for your time, join my Discord, link down below. Send me your portfolio, any past work, and what your commission will be, and I will look into hiring a couple editors to keep this train rolling, because I'm gonna be honest, I can't really be doing it alone anymore. I've got too much going on in my life these days. As for the rest of you, Discord link down below if you're interested in joining and yelling at me. I'm decently active in there, not as much these days, but it's there. That all being said, back to the video. Those games being Star Rail and Genshin, you know, the two MiHoYo games I have the most hours in. Now, despite what a lot of my detractors may say, Tectone, looking at you, bro. It's been 2 years, so move the fuck on. I don't actually hate Genshin. I do hate Star Rail though, but that's a whole nother story for a whole nother day. My point is, I gave both the games a very fair shot. I have at least 600 hours in Star Rail, and I played Genshin for so many hours, I'm not even willing to openly admit how many. And when you play games for that long, you start to really care about the way they're balanced and the management of the company behind them. Now the problem comes when you start to care more than the actual company does, and God knows I know that pain very well. I've been making Genshin content for 4 years almost. Started making Genshin content when Inazuma first came out, and you probably might struggle to find a lot of those older videos because they are on my old channel, which is dead, buried, and gone because that is from me when I was 17 years old, and you don't deserve to see any of that. And throughout those 4 years, I have levied many criticisms about the game in hopes that maybe, in the future, it would improve a little bit. And I would say 99% of the time, it did not. And these are a lot of very basic things that people have been asking for since hell the game fucking came out. You know, for example, toggleable constellations. That's one that a lot of players want. Artifact presets. I don't know what the hell you'd use it on, but shit, that shouldn't be that hard to do. Hell, those aren't very difficult features to add, and yet it's been damn near what, 5 years now? And we don't have them? Come on now, you gotta do better than that. And then there's Star Rail, which is a game that I personally can't stand. And I genuinely believe that the longer that game exists, the worse it gets. Because so many characters in that game are just going to be completely irrelevant. And players unanimously do not like a lot of the very new changes that are being added. For example, global passives, power creep, new enemy mechanics that are just made to counter older, stronger characters to push them out of relevance. People don't like that. And you know, throughout the majority of the time I played Star Rail, I heard a lot from the folks that played it that, oh, it'll get better, it'll get better, it'll get better, it'll get better. And you know what? it didn't really get that much better, did it? You know, there were a couple moments where we got things that were nice, like artifact crafting, or I guess relic crafting. We also got, I guess the 50-50 pool got increased recently. That was pretty cool, but outside of that, I can't really think of anything incredible that was added, at least after I started playing. Now it's time for some honesty, alright? My finger has been off the pulse of both Genshin and Star Rail, and pretty much the gacha community in general, for a very long time. I'd say it's been about 2 years now. It's been so long that I can't really reflect upon my past memories to make videos nowadays, because I don't care. I'm gonna be honest. A lot of it is petty bullshit drama, and I don't give a fuck about it. That being said, the downside is, I don't really see the public effect of anything anymore. For example, I know that Star Rail had a player drop recently. It happened in 3.0. I don't really know if it ever recovered from that point. I only know about the player drop because a significant portion of the folks that I do surround myself with on a daily basis quit playing the game, and they were telling me about it. Apparently there's been this whole writer tirade thing going on, or voice actor tirade. I don't really know much about it, so I'm going to tread carefully here because I don't want to step on eggshells. But my point is, I am completely in the dark. You know, when content creators tell you, oh hey, you know, y'all gotta remember, you're in the minority, because a significant amount of people who play this game don't look at content for the game. I am that person now. And I want to tell you, just straight up, I still notice things are going wrong with the game. However, now, instead of seeing things like, oh, drama, leaks, X character did Y thing, I don't see none of that anymore. I just see, man, this new mechanic fucking sucks. Here's a good example. I like Genshin, right? You know, I like Genshin, and I liked MiHoYo, but in recent years, MiHoYo has taken significant steps to ruin a lot of their games. I'm real big on theory crafting. I love min-maxing damage. That's the reason why I'm not fun to play with when I play video games, because I like to reach peak performance. I like optimizing my characters to do the most damage, and that's only fun if the person I'm playing with also likes doing the same thing. So I'm really in tune with what is currently the best, and I can usually tell just off a first test drive, assuming I get the combo right, if this character is good or bad. And recently in Genshin, every time I test a character, it's like, okay, good. For example, I got Marissa recently. I love her. She's fun as hell. Apparently there was some drama around her. I don't know nothing about that, but she's cool. I like her. But I was bringing her out on a test drive, and I'm sitting here looking at her numbers, and I'm only able to think, damn, she is just a better Chevreuse in every way. She just completely outclasses Chevreuse. She's easier to play, she's more fun, flashy, and she just does more damage. And I started thinking about it, and I went through the roster, and it looks like pretty much every character that's come out since, well, really since Nalin started, honestly. Hell, you can even go back to Fontaine, directly power creeps another character. Now, I've been a very big advocate for Genshin not really having a power creep problem, because at the end of the day, you know, there's power creep, yes. However, there's not really anywhere you can take these characters to fully use them. Like, level 70 characters fully leveled, they're easily able to clear even the hardest content, and 4-star is still hard carry to this day. That being said, it's not really going to be the case for that much longer, because we're seeing a significant problem now where the new characters are raising the ceiling so much that it is damn near impossible for other characters that aren't new, aren't modern, aren't having these new fresh scalings and crazy kits to keep up with them. And this ain't just a thing in Genshin anymore. You know, Star Rail has this problem too. It's pretty bad. I don't even need to go into that. Please see my last 3 fucking videos. The power creep in Star Rail is insane. And then you look at ZZZ, which to be fully honest, you know, throwing my hands up in the air, I don't play ZZZ. However, most of my friends do, and I can still go back and look at tier lists from old areas, and I can see that, yeah, there's very obviously some power creep going on here. And, you know, correct me if I'm wrong, but it looks like this game has pretty bad power creep too. You know, I'm looking at these graphs, and these are clearly newer characters. Ellen and Jane are nowhere near the top anymore. It's like, damn, okay, they have power creep too. You know, we see this in Honkai Impact since its fucking conception. Like, these games are having absolutely insane levels of power creep because, unfortunately, HoYoVerse realized with Star Rail that they can get away with it, and there's nothing we can really do about it. And MiHoYo is putting this pressure on all of their games, on top of just losing the plot somewhere along the lines. This is a very common complaint for Genshin, but most people don't like Natlin, you know, myself included. Natlin feels like a bad dream. I'm gonna wake up from sometime. I might make a whole video on just that. But people don't like Natlin. Natlin feels like it was entirely made to sell new stuff. Like, new mechanics. They will add problems to then sell a solution, or sell a solution to a problem that doesn't exist. For example, since we have started playing Genshin, one of the biggest complaints is the movement. It is slower than Glacier's fucking. It is awful. So instead of just, I don't know, giving players a gadget, you know, that forgotten system that you only use when you're exploring, instead of giving people a gadget that increases their movement speed a little bit, they decided they're gonna lock mount type systems behind a specific character that only works in a specific region. Why? Well, they did it obviously to sell. Now, some of these characters are actually really good. And, you know, some of my commenters have pointed out that I'm wrong and stupid. I thought Mavuika's bike was ass, but apparently you can spam triple jump Mavuika and she can fly everywhere. But that's kind of still a problem, because this is something that is entirely made to sell. And we see this in other games too, you know, going back to Stariel. Stariel has the global passive on Castris. Now, while Castris having a global passive that lets you revive isn't inherently a very bad thing, and personally I don't think it's that big of a deal. The problem is, in the future, when they start releasing global passives, you will have more overpowered things as this passive is getting power crap. Because who knows, you know, maybe when 2 new global passives come out, you have to pick one or the other. Okay, so now you gotta pull for the passive too, and you know damn well, one of these passives one day is eventually gonna be like, yeah, we're gonna increase crit damage by 50. So anybody who doesn't have it, congratulations. You can go fuck yourself, because that's pretty much what they did to you. And this is something that they're probably gonna add to Genshin. Actually, fun fact, Genshin does have a global passive. If you have Scaramouche and Raiden Shogun, you can craft for cheaper. Whoop-de-fucking-do. It's not that big of a deal, but it is there. So they've already dipped their toes in the pond a little bit. We're even seeing characters with new powerful talents coming out in Genshin that we didn't have before. For example, Veressa has an exploration talent that is completely unique to her. As long as she's on the team and you eat food, your movement speed increases an insane amount. I don't know the exact number, but I can tell you one thing, it's faster than 50%. Because Kenichi C1, after you use your skill, it's a 50% movement speed and she is faster than that. And if more characters start getting these passives, it's going to start becoming a problem, and they might implement it in Genshin. And then, going back to Stariel, Stariel has another thing that I don't really care for. They have crafting systems for your relics. Now, I could sit here all day and talk about how terrible the relic system is in Stariel. It is what it is, we all know that. The fact of the matter is, the RNG in that game is significantly worse than it is in all their other games. This is not a secret. So instead of just making it to where, you know, the crafting system is a little bit more generous, that would have been the appropriate thing to do, they instead have it set to where if you don't get what you want, you have to spend money. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. If you want good relics, and you used all your free stuff, we've got this fancy new little pack you can buy for $12 and instantly max out your relics if you want to. Now there is a limit, but the limit isn't that strict. If you want to get them all, it's going to be about $500. Why? You know, why? There was no reason to do that. And MiHoYo, they're getting away with it. You know, they make more money now than they did before. It's fucking obvious. They're going to keep doing it, and they're going to keep getting away with it because people keep buying it. And I don't like that. Because I can feel these games that I enjoyed at some point or another. Again, I know people be quick to contradict me. You don't like Stariel. Yeah, I don't like Stariel. However, I enjoyed these games at some point or another. And if one of them has something bad happen to him, MiHoYo's going to see that and see the money and be like, ooh, go ahead and put that in the other games. And that fucks with me. And there's not really anything I can do about it. Because at the end of the day, I'm gonna quote Gacha Smack here. If MiHoYo decides to stand on business and do some bullshit that you don't appreciate, a significant amount of the community is just gonna say, fuck it, and buy anyway, because I don't give a damn. Hell, you could fucking go spend money on Castris right now and set a bad precedent. Hell, most people probably did spend money on Castris. And MiHoYo is getting away with it, they're setting the precedent, and now other gacha games are gonna do it too. And really, I'm just kind of burnt on it. I've gotten to the point where I don't really care anymore. A very disjointed video, but it was something I was thinking about. That's about it. See ya.